If Beverly Parrish survived as an Our Gang cast member, and we don't exactly know why she died so young or what the causes her to die, even if she survived back at the time, and would appear in more than one Our Gang episode, how about a what-if scenario? If she made any appearances with Stymie Beard, Sherwood Bailey, Dorothy DeBorba, Donald Haynes, Bouncy Wirtz, Dickie Jackson, the brother of Mary Ann, and Jackie Lynn Dufton, and perhaps Buddy McDonald, given himself his rascal name of Speck, and Alan Tong, given himself his rascal name of Lucky. Then what would that be like apart from her appearance in A Tough Winter, and all of the other original fan Our Gang shorts? In this what-if scenario, if Beverly Parrish, 1919 to 1930, had survived, she likely would have become the leading lady of the early 1930s Our Gang era. Historically, she was signed to a 2-year contract to replace Jean Darling as the pretty leading girl, but she tragically died from diabetes complications just weeks after filming her only appearance in A Tough Winter, 1930. Had she remained with the cast, her tenure would have overlapped with the transition from the Jackie Cooper era to the Spanky and Stymie era. Here is how she would have fit in with the specific cast members you mentioned. Leading the Transition Gang, 1930 to 1932, Stymie Beard and Dorothy DeBorba. Beverly would have likely been the older sister, or crush figure to the younger trio of Stymie, Dorothy, and eventually Spanky. In shorts like Helping Grandma, 1931, or Love Business, 1931, she might have replaced Shirley Jean Rickard, her historical replacement, as the girl the boys competed over. Sherwood Bailey and Donald Haynes, as part of the older faction of the gang during this period. Beverly would have frequently shared scenes with Sherwood Bailey, the spoiled kid, or bully type, and Donald Haynes. She likely would have played the voice of reason or the prize in their neighborhood schemes. Buddy, Speck, McDonald and Alan, Lucky, Tong. Since Buddy McDonald and Alan Tong were often featured as part of the background, gang or specialized characters, like the Tough, or Lucky, Kid, Beverly would have been their primary female counterpart in large group adventures, such as the schoolroom or playground theme shorts. Character dynamics and role: the sophisticated older girl. Because Beverly was slightly older, born in 1919, and spoke fluent French, producers might have utilized her as a more sophisticated or talented child, similar to the roles later played by Darla Hood. Family connection: her brother, Robert Parrish, was already appearing in Our Gang as an extra, e.g., Olympic Games, and her sister Helen Parrish was a child star. This survival would have likely seen all 3 Parrish siblings appearing together in some capacity. The most significant piece of lost history involving Beverly Parrish is the French-language version of her only short, A Tough Winter, 1930, titled Temps de Hiver. While Beverly appears only as a silent background extra in standard English version, she was actually a key player in the foreign market releases because she was fluent in French. The French footage, Temps de Hiver, a speaking role. In the surviving first reel of the French version, Beverly is not just an extra, she has significant dialogue. She does quite a lot of talking in the final 2 minutes of the extant footage, showcasing the talent that originally earned her a 2-year contract. Racial tone shifts. Interestingly, the French version is noted for a different tone in its performances. Critics have observed that Stepin Fetchit appears less like caricature and has more engaging, rhythmic exchanges with Farina than in the English edit. Missing German version: it is believed that a German version of the short was also produced, though it is currently considered lost or non-extant. Given her linguistic skills, Beverly likely would have been the star of that version as well. Clarifying the tragic timeline. Cause of death: Beverly died suddenly at age 10, some sources say 11, from complications of diabetes. Timing: her death occurred in February 1930, just a week and a half after filming A Tough Winter and months before the short was even released to theaters. The replacement: because of her sudden passing, the studio had to pivot quickly, eventually signing Shirley Jean Rickert several episodes later to fill the leading girl archetype. The Parrish legacy in Our Gang: If She Had Lived. Beverly would have been part of the rare sibling trio in the series. Her brother, Robert Parrish, was already appearing as an extra in shorts like Olympic Games, 1927, before later winning an Academy Award for film editing. Her younger sister, Helen Parrish, also appeared in the series before becoming a major child star at Universal. Would you like to see a comparison of the cast lists for the episodes she might have starred in during the 1931-1932 season? If Beverly Parrish had survived and fulfilled her 2-year contract, 1930 to 1932, she would have bridged the gap between the Jackie Cooper and Spanky eras. Historically, Shirley Jean Rickert was hired to fill Beverly's intended pretty girl archetype, so we can look at Rickert's 1931 episodes to see exactly where Beverly would have stood. Comparison: the historical cast versus the Beverly cast, 1931-1932. Below is a look at the key shorts from that season and how Beverly would have replaced Shirley Jean Rickert or shared scenes with the rascals you mentioned. Helping Grandma. Episode, release date, January 1931. Historical leading girl, Shirley Jean Rickert. Key cast members Beverly would have joined: Stymie Beard, Dorothy de Borba, Jackie Cooper, Donald Haynes. Love Business. Episode, release date, February 1931. Historical leading girl, Shirley Jean Rickert. Key cast members Beverly would have joined: Stymie Beard, Donald Haynes, Chubby Cheney. Fly My Kite. Episode, release date, May 1931. Historical leading girl, Shirley Jean Rickert. Key cast members Beverly would have joined: Stymie, Dorothy, Dickie Jackson, and Farina. Big Years. Episode, release date, August 1931. Historical leading girl, no lead girl. Key cast members Beverly would have joined: Sherwood Bailey, debut, Stymie, Dorothy, and Donald Haynes. Readin' and Written. Episode, release date, January 1932. Historical leading girl, no lead girl. Key cast members Beverly would have joined: Sherwood Bailey, Stymie, Donald Haynes, and Dorothy. Free Eats. Episode, release date, February 1932. Historical leading girl, no lead girl. Key cast members Beverly would have joined: Spanky McFarland, debut, Stymie, Donald Haynes. Sherwood Bailey. How she would have fit with your named cast: Stymie Beard and Spanky McFarland. Beverly, born 1919, was significantly older than Stymie, born 1925, and Spanky, born 1928. She likely would have played a babysitter or big sister figure, similar to Marianne Jackson, but with the glamour style intended by her contract. Sherwood Bailey and Donald Haynes. These two often played the neighborhood toughs or bullies. Beverly would have likely been the girl they were trying to impress, or the one who outsmarted them. Bouncy Wirtz and Dickie Jackson. These background gang members appeared in large group scenes, like the schoolroom in Readin' and Written. Beverly would have likely been the star pupil in these classroom-centered plots. Jackie Lynn Dufton. Jackie joined in 1932, around Free Fishin'. If Beverly had stayed for her full contract, she would have been the veteran big girl, mentoring the newcomer, Jackie Lynn. Spec. Buddy McDonald, and Lucky, Alan Tong. Buddy McDonald was a regular, tough kid in the early 30s, and Alan Tong was one of the few Asian American cast members of the era. Beverly's sophisticated, leading lady persona would have provided a sharp contrast to their more grounded, rough and rumble, rascal energy. Would you like to explore a specific, what-if plotline for one of these shorts starring Beverly? Even if Weezer Hutchins appeared with Beverly Parrish in more shorts together more often apart from all the other kids I have mentioned before, then what would that be like apart from A Tough Winter? In a world where Beverly Parrish survived to film more shorts with Bobby, Weezer, Hutchins, their dynamic would have likely centered on a classic older sister, mischievous younger brother relationship. While they both appeared in A Tough Winter, 1930, they had very little direct interaction because Beverly was largely a background extra in that specific film. Here is how their partnership would have likely evolved in later 1930 to 1932 shorts. The little brother dynamic, Weezer as the tag-along. During this era, Weezer was often portrayed as the earnest but overlooked younger sibling who just wanted to be part of the action. Had Beverly stayed, she likely would have been the one he was tagging along with, replacing Mary Ann Jackson in those sibling-style plots. The voice of authority. Because Beverly was several years older than Weezer, she would have likely played the responsible one tasked with watching him. This would have created a fun comedic contrast between her sophisticated, French-speaking persona and Weezer's messy, high-energy antics. Potential storylines: protecting the leading lady. In episodes where the older boys, like Jackie Cooper and Donald Haynes, were competing for Beverly's attention, Weezer probably would have been the third wheel, or the one accidentally ruining their romantic schemes. Shared vulnerability. Both actors were known for their expressive eyes and ability to show sweetness and vulnerability on screen. They likely would have shared heartfelt scenes in sobcoms, tear-jerker comedies, such as Helping Grandma, 1931, where they might have teamed up against a common adult antagonist. Behind-the-scenes reality. Isolation. In reality, a close off-screen friendship would have been difficult. Weezer's father was notoriously competitive and reportedly kept Bobby isolated from the other children to prevent him from socializing or growing out of his small, employable size. The Shadow Gang. Historically, Weezer led a younger version of the gang, including Stymie and Dorothy. Beverly would have served as the bridge between this younger group and the older rascals, often acting as the mature anchor for Weezer's chaotic Shadow Gang. Would you like to explore a specific imaginary script idea for a short where Weezer tries to help Beverly with her French lessons? Even if someone teaches Weezer to encourage Beverly to speak a little bit of English as well, and then she encourages him to speak a little bit of French, can they even communicate with each other? What if Miss Crabtree, who was portrayed by June Marlowe, helps Weezer to encourage Beverly to speak his language in English first, before he was encouraged by Beverly to speak a little bit of French? That would have been a landmark moment for our gang. This scenario turns a language barrier into a classic piece of Hal Roach comedy, using Miss Crabtree as the bridge. The what-if scenario. Parlez-vous Weezer? The setup: Beverly is the new girl in class, recently arrived from France. Miss Crabtree, June Marlowe, realizes Beverly is shy because she doesn't know much English. To help her integrate, Miss Crabtree assigns Weezer, who has a massive crush on Beverly, to be her language partner. The interaction, the English lesson. Miss Crabtree encourages Weezer to show Beverly common objects. In typical Weezer fashion, he'd probably show her a frog or a slingshot. Weezer. Say. Boy. Beverly. Boy. Weezer. Now say. Golly. The French switch. Once Beverly feels comfortable, she starts teaching him back. You'd have the hilarious visual of Weezer, the quintessential American street kid, trying to wrap his tongue around sophisticated French vowels. Beverly. Say. bonjour, mon ami, Weezer, struggling, bonjour, money, me? Could they communicate? Yes, through kid logic. One of the hallmarks of our gang was that children always understood each other regardless of their background. While Beverly would have been the most refined girl the gang ever had, her interaction with the scratchy-voiced, energetic Weezer would have created a Beauty and the Beast-style friendship. Why it would have worked, the Crabtree factor. June Marlowe was the perfect teacher, her patient. Maternal energy would have made Beverly's transition from a silent extra to a leading lady feel natural and sweet to the audience. The comedy. The humor would come from the rest of the gang, Stymie or Sherwood, overhearing Weezer speaking fancy French and teasing him for being hi-hat. Would you like to imagine how Stymie or Spanky would have reacted to hearing Weezer and Beverly speaking French together?